This is NDDC Today.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us as you always do every week. Now, the NDDC headquarters has been a beehive of activity in recent weeks, with visits by various stakeholders and prominent personalities coming to pledge their support and seek collaboration on ways of moving the Niger Delta region to the desired level. The Commission is also experiencing a fresh breath of air in the relationship with members of the National Assembly, who came calling at the NDDC headquarters as part of their oversight function. Indeed, things are looking up at the Commission, and we're here every week to appraise you of some of these new exciting developments. This is NDDC Today. I am Patrick Oke. So now, 2 weeks ago, members of the House of Representatives Committee on the Niger Delta visited the Commission as part of their oversight function. The committee members pledged their willingness to support the NDDC management, led by its interim administrator, Mr. Effiong Akwa, to ensure that they succeed in their quest to develop the Niger Delta region. And also last week, the Commission played host to the upper legislative chamber, when members of the Senate Committee on the NDDC came calling as part also of their oversight function. Our correspondent was at a meeting and filed this report.
The Chairman, Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Peter Nwabushi, has assured the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC of the support and collaboration of his committee in the task of developing the Niger Delta region. Speaking during the oversight visit of the Senate Committee at the NDDC Permanent Headquarters in Port Harcourt, Senator Nwabushi stated that the Commission's strategy of engagement and collaboration was important for progress in the Niger Delta region. He said that the interim administrator, Mr. Effiong Akwa, has been very nice in terms of reaching out, communicating and discussing with the committee.
The interim administrator is so nice in terms of reach out, communication and discussion, and it opened discussions with us. It came down to apologize for whatever has happened, and he told us he's ready to work for the people of the Niger Delta within the tenure he's going to be here. And that is why you see my distinguished colleagues, we have to go to the Senate leadership to say, this man has come, he has apologized, he has accepted that there is need for cooperation and there is need for Niger Delta to move forward.
The Senate Committee Chairman assured that they would continue to collaborate with the interim administrator and the NDDC for as long as Akwa remained the Chief Executive Officer of the Commission. Senator Nwabushi observed that the NDDC administrator had started very well by bringing peace and giving people the opportunity to discuss, and assured that his committee will have an open mind in collaborating and cooperating with the Commission in the interest of the Niger Delta region. Nwabushi expressed delight over the completion of the NDDC permanent headquarters, noting that the committee had appropriated 16 billion naira for the completion of the headquarters building.
This is my second visit to this headquarters. I came with my colleagues on oversight, and immediately we finished, we voted money, and we said we want this headquarters to be completed. However, it was not. But today, we are happy to sit down in this headquarters of Niger Delta Development Fund.
The committee chairman remarked that the Senate was still investigating issues connected with the NDDC COVID-19 palliative funds. He noted that the NDDC interim administrator was not part of the NDDC leadership at the time. He said that Akwa was appointed as Acting Executive Director Finance and Administration of the Commission in August 2020, a month after the National Assembly probed the matter, stating that he was not a party to any of the transactions concerning palliatives. Welcoming members of the Senate Committee to the NDDC Permanent Headquarters, the NDDC Interim Administrator, Mr. Effiong Akwa, thanked them for the oversight visit. The NDDC boss commended the Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs for their unflinching support for the NDDC, noting that the support was critical for the development and progress of the Niger Delta region.
When I went there, gentlemen, they gave me an unprecedented attention. When I presented your case to them, I made speech. They asked me one or two questions and then told me to take it out. And then they asked me, they told me, they informed me that this is unusual, that to whom much is given, much is expected. That the senators who want me to reciprocate that gesture by ensuring that appropriate things are done.
The interim administrator later took members of the Senate Committee on a tour of the newly completed headquarters complex.
Members of the Senate Committee on the NDDC, they're pledging their support to the Commission and assuring their continued cooperation with the interim administrator to move the NDDC forward. Now, still on cooperation with the NDDC, recently the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, partnered with the NDDC to train its management and procurement liaison officers on ways to change and reform the Commission's procurement processes. A reporter was at a two-day event, and this is what he saw.
Mr. Effiong Akwa, who spoke at a two-day workshop on public procurement reform in Port Harcourt, said that the training would fully arm them with the sound principles of public procurement. Mr. Akwa stated that the workshop is the first necessary step to redirect NDDC's procurement processes and ensure compliance, transparency, and consequently, better service delivery. He expressed confidence that the required reforms in the NDDC would be achieved when management and liaison officers involved in public procurement applied the right principles in their various departments.
Let me emphasize that the workshop is a necessary step to redirect the procurement process in NDDC to ensure three basic objectives. The first objective is that of compliance. Compliance with procedures, with rules, with extant rules. The second one is to ensure transparency. Whatever you are doing in public procurement, you must ensure transparency. Where there is absence of transparency, then the process of public procurement would have been fundamentally flawed, and you cannot meet the requirement. Then the third one is that at the end of the day, there will be what we call better service delivery.
The NDDC Chief Executive Officer said that apart from deepening collaboration with the BPP, the workshop would rekindle stakeholders' confidence because it signified concerted efforts to improve the Commission's procurement practices. He affirmed that as a procurement entity of the federal government, the NDDC was required to carry out public procurement since it derived at least 35% of its funds from the federal government's share of the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Mr. Akwa assured that he would ensure that all procurements in the NDDC were carried out in line with the provisions of the Public Procurement Act 2007.
Public procurement in NDDC is carried out and must be carried out in line with the provisions of the Public Procurement Act of 2007 and with the demands of the Bureau for Public Procurement.
Akwa said that the BPP, in its recently concluded procurement audit exercise of the NDDC, wrote on the issues noticed in the procurement processes and recommended that procurements in the Commission should be carried out in line with the provisions in the law. The NDDC boss stated that the anomalies and challenges regarding public procurement in the Commission had been addressed, assuring that the interim administration would ensure that all the recommendations of the BPP were carried out. In his remarks, the representative of the Director General of the BPP, Engineer Aliyu, said the Bureau was willing to partner and assist the NDDC to achieve its goals of facilitating the development of the Niger Delta region. He emphasized the need for procurements to be carried out professionally, commending the NDDC for organizing a training to ensure compliance with the extant laws in its procurement activities.
We are happy to be here to partner with NDDC so that we can achieve the goals of NDDC together.
Aliyu noted that the high-level training would enable the NDDC directors and liaison officers to meet the challenges of the public procurement reforms. The NDDC Director of Procurement, Mr. Ndudi Enebeli, said that the workshop was a platform for a fresh effort at sanitizing the Commission's procurement processes. He declared that the two-day training would help the directors and relevant officers in the NDDC ensure that due process was followed in all public procurements at the Commission.
Once you have understanding, you do things better. So the first and foremost thing is to ensure that people have understanding of the processes and procedures. When people understand it, it makes the work easier. Number two is that heads of departments and directorates will be able to guide the liaison officers right under them. But we all need the knowledge so we'll be on the same page. This will help us to refocus. This will help us to change the narrative.
In 1992, it started as UMPADEC, a commission set up to address the socio-economic problems of the Niger Delta, long held up in penury by oil-producing activity. In 1993, the executives of UMPADEC initiated this building as a permanent home, a befitting headquarters. But like UMPADEC, the effort fizzled out. For more than 28 years, the task remained impossible. But then rose these actors to the rescue. Their effort has yielded this result. A magnificent high-rise edifice towering like a colossus in the city of Port Harcourt, a new landmark of regional unity in the Niger Delta. This 13-story ultra-modern architecture is now ready for commissioning. Sir, the task is done. NDDC, truly determined to make a difference. There is no doubt that at the end of that workshop, NDDC procurement officers will now be better informed on how to meet the challenges of public procurement at the Commission. From Port Harcourt, we take you to Nnewi and Anambra State, where the NDDC has concluded arrangements once more with Innocent Kiara Academy, a technical and vocational institution to train Niger Delta youths as part of a skills acquisition program. Here's the report.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, says it will soon commence the training of Niger Delta youths at the Innocent Kiara Academy, a technical and vocational institution affiliated to the Innocent Vehicle Manufacturing Company as part of its skills acquisition program. The NDDC Interim Administrator, Mr. Effiong Akwa, represented by his special advisor on youths, Engineer Udengs Iradiri, said this after inspecting facilities at the Innocent factory in Nnewi, Anambra State. He was accompanied by the NDDC Deputy Director, Commercial and Industrial Development, Sir Daniel Ajunwa. Akwa noted that NDDC already had a partnership with the motor manufacturing company for the training of youths in different aspects of automobile maintenance, stating that the visit to the factory was to firm up the partnership. The NDDC Chief Executive Officer observed that the Presidential Amnesty Program had trained several Niger Delta youths in the facility and they came out with valuable skills. He stressed that the Commission would want to continue with that kind of development and get to a situation where there will be a plant in the Niger Delta that will be also manufacturing vehicles.
Not too long ago, the Amnesty Program trained Niger Delta youths in this facility, and they actually manufactured a vehicle that those young men put together. We want that to continue. We want to see a situation where we should have a plant in the Niger Delta that will also be manufacturing vehicles. In fact, this partnership, we would like it to the point where, a replica of this plant should be set up in the Niger Delta.
The Chief Executive Officer of Innocent Kiara Academy, Mr. Ndi Ezenwa, thanked the NDDC for considering the facilities at Innocent Motors for the training of Niger Delta youths, stating that he looked forward to seeing the partnership come into effect. Ezengwa said that many of the youths had a lot of energy that needs to be properly harnessed and channeled into constructive use, such as in fixing vehicles and contributing to the industrialization of the Niger Delta region. He assured that the Innocent Group would in due course set up workshops in the Niger Delta region in collaboration with organizations like the NDDC.
It's a wonderful thing to partner with the NDDC, and we are more than happy to set up workshops in the 9 different states where we're happy to even produce some of the vehicle parts in these workshops, which of course this factory can uptake, buy from them. Okay, so we're not only going to just do the normal training, we want to do the knowledge, skills, the attitude, and also the entrepreneurship, so they can be independent and train others as well.
We hope that in due course, several teeming youths of the Niger Delta will take full advantage of the Skills Acquisition Opportunities Program, such as the one you saw on that story. Only the Lord knows how much the Niger Delta youth needs these kinds of programs. Moving on, the NDDC Interim Administrator Effiong Akwa recently played host to a delegation from the University of Port Harcourt, led by its acting Vice Chancellor, where he pledged to assist educational institutions in the Niger Delta region, especially in the postgraduate programs in the institution. In the same vein, the interim administrator also played host to a delegation from the U.S. Consulate in Lagos, who came calling at the Commission. Our correspondent was at both events, and this is what he saw.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, says it is making plans to run its postgraduate scholarship program in Nigerian universities, especially those in the Niger Delta region. This piece of information was disclosed by the NDDC Interim Administrator, Mr. Effiong Akwa, during a courtesy visit by a delegation from the University of Port Harcourt, Uniport, led by its acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Okodudu, at the NDDC Permanent Headquarters in Port Harcourt. Akwa, who was reacting to a request by the Vice Chancellor for another NDDC hostel in the university, promised to assist in elevating the educational institutions in the Niger Delta region to make them suitable for the postgraduate program. The NDDC boss observed that in the era of COVID-19 pandemic, it was necessary to assist universities to properly and comfortably accommodate students in order to ensure sufficient provision for social distancing in the hostels.
The health conditions that we have on ground with the COVID-19 issue pandemic, it requires that students must be properly and comfortably accommodated in a space distance. There should be sufficient provision for social distancing that will enable the students to stay without having themselves hurt.
He told the Vice Chancellor that the university's request would be taken care of in the 2022 budget of the NDDC, describing Uniport as a flagship university in the Niger Delta region. Akwa advised the university to write formally to the Commission for appropriate budgetary provisions and presentation to the Budget Committee of the National Assembly.
You need to write to us that you need a second hostel so that we can present your request to the National Assembly, to the Budget Committee of the National Assembly for appropriate budgetary provisions. against subsequent years' budget, which should be 2022 budget.
He expressed confidence that the National Assembly would be willing to accommodate the request, since the project would impact on the quality of the learning environment as well as the welfare of the students. Mr. Akwa noted that the University of Port Harcourt was playing a crucial role in the economy of the South-South region. Speaking earlier, the acting Vice-Chancellor of Uniport, Professor Stephen Okodudu, appealed to the NDDC to assist the university to ease the pressure of accommodation by building another hostel for them. It would be recalled that apart from the 522 bed space hostel at Uniport, the NDDC had built and handed over 7 other completed prototype hostels to the River State University, Port Harcourt, the University of Benin, Imo State University, Federal University of Science and Technology, Owerri, Delta State University, Abraka, University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, and the Michael Okwara University of Agriculture, Umudike, in Abia State.
In 1992, it started as UMPADEC, a commission set up to address the socio-economic problems of the Niger Delta, long held up in penury by oil-producing activity. In 1993, the executives of UMPADEC initiated this building as a permanent home, a befitting headquarters. But like UMPADEC, the effort fizzled out. For more than 28 years, the task remained impossible. But then rose these actors to the rescue. Their effort has yielded this result. A magnificent high-rise edifice towering like a colossus in the city of Port Harcourt, a new landmark of regional unity in the Niger Delta. This 13-story ultra-modern architecture is now ready for commissioning. Sir, the task is done. NDDC, truly determined to make a difference.
Mr. Effiong Akwa has called for a collaboration with the United States government in its efforts to produce a revised regional development master plan for the Niger Delta region. Akwa made the call when a delegation from the United States Consulate in Lagos, led by the political and economic chief, Mr. Brandon Hotspurs, paid him a courtesy visit at the Commission's new headquarters in Port Harcourt. The NDDC Chief Executive Officer remarked that the master plan for the region, which had a lifespan of 15 years, expired in 2020. It therefore appealed to the US for a partnership to produce another master plan that will be tailored to address the needs of Niger Delta people and American citizens in the region. It said that the Niger Delta, as an oil-rich region, should be looking beyond its oil wealth, stating that the region had great potentials in agriculture. It called for the support of the U.S. Consulate in Nigeria in ensuring that U.S. oil and gas companies operating in the Niger Delta region remit payments due to the NDDC as at when due, as stipulated by the law.
So far, we've had a good relationship, but sometimes there is what we call statutory remittances. Statutory remittances that the law allows them to pay for the development of the Niger Delta region. Most of these monies are often delayed. To some extent, in most cases, we have to enlist the support of the security agencies in Nigeria. Like EFCC had to help us, come around to help us. It's not ideal that people should be compelled to do what is obligatory. So we should be able to talk to your companies that operate in the region to on their own willingly make timely remittances of their obligations to the Commission, which will help in stabilizing the region.
Speaking further, Akwa requested for the support of its postgraduate foreign scholarship program, which he said had been part of NDDC's manpower development. The NDDC interim administrator equally called on the United States Consulate to establish an office in Port Harcourt to ease off the stress on residents and peoples of the Niger Delta region who have to transact business with the U.S. Consulate.
If we stay here as a region we are very useful to you, we don't expect all our people to be traveling all the time to Lagos or Abuja to attend to consular matters. why don't you think of, we will request that you bring the consular office to Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt has great infrastructure, we have security, the place is well built.
Earlier in his remarks, the head of the U.S. consulate delegation, Mr. Brandon Hotspeth, noted that Nigeria and the United States were close allies working together to foster the bilateral relationship between both countries to improve lives, especially in the Niger Delta region. He said that the U.S. would continue to work with the NDDC to strengthen collaboration on strategies to improve peace and security to facilitate the sustainable development of the Niger Delta region.
And that's our package for the week. We look forward to seeing you same time next week. Hopefully, we can sustain your interest in the Niger Delta, and hopefully also you make your contribution in comments or, pointing out areas you think that we can do better. The management is open. From me, it's good night, and thanks for watching.